other managers period.
I was going to say
anyway.
There are certainly some signs that we haven't seen certainly in our lifetime. Certainly in terms of our situation at home,
dating back to a time in which Franz Josef was the Austro-Hungarian Empire.
Yeah,
going back to the Puskás Arena, but since never in Liverpool's history, dating back to 1892, have we been in this situation.
Yeah, that's what's really scary.
And we've been relegated, and we still didn't lose this many games at home.
Yeah, so I think
not we, Liverpool.
I would like to see some kind of change. And I was actually talking to a friend of the show, Chris, about this earlier. Why are we putting the armband on a player who's almost certainly out the door? Why is that? I know that they voted on.
He's our vice captain.
Yeah. So
if the players voted for it, you got to respect that.
I guess, but
I was even surprised that they gave it to Trent when he came off.
Just trying to piss off Salah.
Probably. Yeah. But anyway, let's move on. Another comment, and this could speak to Liverpool's future here. Robbie Fowler said Liverpool should cash in on Mo Salah if he wants to leave, and I'm assuming he means this season or this transfer window when it opens up. So, Ben, I'll let you tee this one off. Let's not drag it on too long. We got a few things to get to still, and I do have my $1 million question coming up, but I can definitely see this this being an option.
So I'll be super quick. I do agree because it just goes right back to Coutinho. I think at the end of the day, we've had the same front three for the past 3 years, and clearly it's not working. So it's time to upgrade, and whether that's offloading Salah for cash and then picking up the likes of Mbappe or Haaland. That's obviously the dream. But if not that, making some really shrewd investments and getting some fresh new attackers, and we go again. But if he this all comes down to if he wants to leave, let him leave and sell him to the highest bidder.
Maybe. John, what do you think?
I do not think that this is the right time to sell our best attacker. The reason that we are not in a relegation scrap, I don't think it's the time to negotiate whether or not we want to sell the best part of our team right now.
All right, I can see where you're coming from there, but I kind of on Ben's side here, because if you get rid of him and then take that cash, invest it elsewhere, or bring in other youth players, but it also gives you a chance to restructure the team. And I don't want to put this all on Mane and Salah not being buddies anymore and not working well together. But there's something to be said about having too many options where, Salah can score, Mane can score, Firmino could score. It sounds great, but you look at Leicester, who's going to score on that team? Vardy. That's pretty much it. And look how well he scores. So when you put it all on one or you put it into one system, it definitely can make a difference. So I think it gives a chance for the team to revamp itself and change it up a lot.
I know we're going to move on here, but I think that's kind of the knock against Thiago lately, is that he's the option in midfield. So just limiting the options is not necessarily always the best call.
So you lost me on that one. We'll edit that out. I'm confused on even how that was. Thiago's changing up the style of the team.
Everybody goes through to Thiago first and expects him to play the ball in a particular way, and I think
that is definitely not the way they're playing right now. Thiago's not distributing. He's not there distributing. He's not playing like the Thiago from Bayern Munich. He's definitely not playing that same structure there. Anyway, we'll edit that part out there. So, $1 million question here, guys, and I've had this in my back pocket for a while, and I've got at least one or two answers with it. What would it take for you to want Jurgen Klopp removed as manager by the end of the season or after the season there? John, I'll let you tee that up. Would you? Do you think it's even an option, or is there a breaking point, something to happen that would want you to say, you know what, he needs to go?
Relegation.
So pretty much not going to happen, because that's maybe physically impossible.
Never say never.
I'm just saying,
true enough.
Here's like an extension of that answer, which is a little bit more serious. Is that I don't think that there is a reason right now, based on the circumstances we're in, the unprecedented sort of nature of what this season is. We don't have many of our top performers, and we don't have fans at Anfield. If those circumstances change, and we have investment in the squad in the summer, and we have fans back in the stands, and our form doesn't change in the new season, yeah, then maybe.
So you're giving him, no matter what happens this year, anybody could say, Mo Salah can come out and say he's yelled at me and screamed at me and I hate him and I want to leave, and you're still sticking with him?
Yeah, I think that.
Oh, okay. I'm giving you carte blanche, and that was it. Okay.
Well, because also part of that is, who are we bringing in right now? Like who's good enough?
We'll
right?
figure that one out later. That's the $1 million question. If we got $1 million for it, we'll figure that out. All right, so John is pretty much sticking with him, borderline a complete mutiny from the team, maybe. Ben, what would cause you to think that Jurgen Klopp should be removed as manager?
Yeah, I think I got to agree with John on most points there. Like, if this continues again next year, and I think you really kind of throw it to the players, and if the players lose faith in him, then, he can't continue. I think it's remarkable if you look at the likes of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, just the roller coaster he's had. And they've stuck with him. And now he's finishing second, like he's likely going to finish second. So I think we stick with him, but if this kind of keeps continuing, then maybe we take a closer look at it.
Maybe I'm seeing something different here, guys, because for me, one of my biggest flags with Klopp right now is that with all this adversity, he hasn't been able to offer pretty much anything for this team. The front three are still there. We still got a lot of attacking players. We're not scoring. Yes, our defense is decimated and our midfield is lacking, but for me, I've lost a lot of faith in his ability to manage adversity, which is really scaring me. So for me, and this is not contingent exactly on these things happen, but it would be signs that the players have pretty much turned on him and left him at the door. One is that if they lose to Leipzig and get knocked out, if they lose 3-0 or 4-0 or whatever, they get knocked out this round, to me that will be just ridiculously obvious that he does not have a handle on this team anymore, and they aren't listening, or whatever he's saying, they aren't buying. And the other one is a little more generic. If there's no improved consistency, he's got 10 games left, and if I can't see him righting this ship and at least getting consistent results, consistent goal scoring, consistent, just a good play. We had that Sheffield game, which was good.
Against
the worst team in the league.
Arguably the worst team ever.
And I can't think offhand, but I mean, the last 15 games, I can think maybe once or twice walking away being like, hey, they played well. Maybe they didn't get the result they deserved, but they played well.
JP, I think the other factor here is the business side of things. Like, we don't, unless the front office has a replacement lined up. I don't.
Well, let's pretend we can get.
I think it's a great point. I think that's exactly what happened with Lampard. They identified Tuchel and they were like, okay, here's our guy. Lampard, you're out.
Well, Gerrard just won the Scottish Premiership and he's ready to go.
But I don't think Rangers want to get rid of him right now. They got a Europa League and now they're going to be in Champions League next year.
Guys, it's a $1 million question hyperbole thing here.
I know. All I'm saying, JP, I do got to agree with a lot of your points. His failure to adapt in front of adversity is very alarming. So I think you're right on that.
What I'll say though is like you introduced like, they haven't been scoring a lot of goals. That's more of a recent problem. So whether or not, like, I will agree with you that like there are certain underlying issues where things have been getting worse recently, but like it is possible that it's an unprecedented blip. Don't get me wrong, but there is reason to believe that this is a blip.
Okay, recent problem. I'm pulling up the table here. They scored 1 goal against Leicester, and that was on when was that? Sorry, I lost there. That was on the 13th of February. 1 goal against City on the 7th. And then they beat West Ham 3-1 and Spurs 3-1 in January. And then they lost to Burnley, no goals. Shut out by Man U, shut out by Southampton. Newcastle, 1 goal against West Brom, and then that Crystal Palace game. So this has been months of barely scoring any goals with still 3 or 4 players no Jota, so 3 supposedly top players in the league, in the world, top strikers in the world, and who would put those front 3 up against anybody nowadays? Very few. And I've been saying this since even not beginning of the season, but around Christmas time, I was concerned that things were not going the way they should be. And I really do think there's a problem in the dressing room. This, to me, reeks of discontent, not on the same page, whether it's Mane and Salah and Bobby not fitting together and things that just aren't going well. But there is there's something rotten in Denmark, basically.
To me, it doesn't reek to me of that. It reeks to me of...
It's too easy an answer to say there's no fans and people are injured. That's too easy of an answer for me right now.
Well, it could be too easy because it's right. Like, I'm sorry. It is
possible,
what it is.
but
Yeah, John,
they've had way too long to correct this, and it's not been corrected.
My biggest like drama I've been beating this whole time is like you can't just point to these things like injuries, refereeing, lack of fans, and say that's the problem. The problem is just so much bigger, like you're saying. And I'm sure these are all factors in the problem, but I agree with you. You can't just chalk that up and say that's the problem.
Other teams are scoring without fans. Other teams are scoring with injuries. Not to our level, of course, but it's. I don't think it's as simple as just saying they're not on form because we're missing Van Dijk and Gomez and Hendo and guys are playing out. You still find a way, and if you're that caliber player, if you're, Mo Salah, who's supposed to be worth 150 million euros to transfer, you still find a way to score outside of penalties. Which we haven't.
Totally agree.
All right. Love it, man. That was a nice little... Glad I sparked that one up a little bit. So now, I don't get to argue this one in here. We get to go into some game time. Questionnaires here. So, I am currently 1-2, but I'm hosting right now. John, you can slowly catch up to Ben here, because you're 1-2 as well, and Ben is 3-1.
This isn't like a points total thing. It's a limited champion thing.
True enough.
JP, it's that Ben is the current champion.
You want to keep track of records?
I have a chance of getting the title.
Stairway to 7.
Definitely.
Baby.
And there's always still, John, in wrestling, they still keep track of your record. I know that.
Yeah, okay.
I remember that because I remember when Goldberg was undefeated.
Here's the thing. Yes,
Okay,
Ric Flair is a 16-time world champion, but he also lost the title 16 times.
Very true.
Okay, guys.
All right, guys. So I've got 6 questions and I've got a tiebreaker here, and all about our center back pairings.
Love it.
Jesus. Okay.
I didn't want to give you guys the category head because it's easily researchable. So I gave these guys whiteboards so they can write their answers, and so I know they don't change them in the mix there. I'll have them show me the answers and call them out so you all at home can hear it as well. So I've updated this up to today, I believe so. First question, and this is all competitions. How many players have played center back this year, or center half, whatever you want to call it? How many Liverpool players?
So individual players.
Individual players, not individual pairings and partners and such. How many players have played those 2 center back positions? Left center back, right center back.
We need a time limit because we could...
I'm only going to give you guys a little bit of time to these while I ramble away.
Now, we got to... Okay, so you were the biggest critic of Jobberty, but you haven't really clarified the rules here. Is it closest without going over? Is it...
Nope, just straight answers.
Okay, so what if we both say something that's wrong?
Then you get a point.
I see.
And if you end up tied, I got a tiebreaker.
Got it.
So if you end up with 0 answers the entire time, which is possible, some of these are a little tricky, to be honest. But you know all the players. We've watched enough of the games. I feel like you guys can get a pretty good idea. And if you guys want to swap it there's not too many that are like numbers either. Most of them are players there. All right, John's got his answer, I believe.
I'm trying to clarify the rules here, so I'm now actually thinking.
I'm going to double check my answer here.
Shouldn't be any math involved. It's just how many players have played. Oh, you're writing out all the names, maybe.
I'm trying to go through it.
All right, I gotta have to pull the chute here quickly, guys.
I can always cut this out as well.
True enough.
Yeah,
but I don't want to give you guys too much time. I'm going to give a 5-second countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and
8.
John or Ben, flip it. He's right. 7. Both incorrect. It is 9. 9 players. I'm not going to say the players' names because they may. I'll tell you later on.
It might come up later.
Yeah, because it might come up later.
Yeah.
So no points so far here.
I'm trying to figure out who my ninth was, though.
And you're all going to be like, oh, come on. And remember, I said all competitions.
Oh, I forgot about...
Don't say anything yet.
I won't say anything.
All right. Now, which center back has played the most games at center back? And I'm going to discount Fabinho and Hendo. Apologies for if that throws you off too much, because it was hard I couldn't find a stat to sort them out specifically.
Like natural center
So
back.
who has played, all right, call them natural center backs. Which center back has played the most games for Liverpool, all competitions?
Started?
Played.
Got it.
So coming off the bench is okay. I'm assuming the stat that I read was all, it was all played there. This one might be a little surprising.
I keep erasing it. Okay.
All right. Looks like we got our answers. Let's
Yep.
see them, guys. Ben, what'd you have? Nat Phillips,